What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Orozco Body and Mind podcast. I'm your host, Chris Orozco, and today I have a really special episode where I want to dive right in and I want to talk a little bit about spirituality and how it's really changed my life, how it's really put me, I think, in a path where I've gained more wisdom. I've gained so many beautiful qualities, and I believe it's for everybody. I don't think spirituality is just for people who, are different or have different thought thinking processes or anything like that. I think spirituality is for all of us. I believe that we came into this lifetime to learn more about life, to learn more about ourselves, to discover things that are essential for our growth. And we can't be afraid of, finding these truths. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about my experience with spirituality and how it started from a young age. And when I was, young, early on, like 9, 10 years old, I used to go to church every time. My parents used to make me go to church, and I would sit there and they would talk about God, and my mind would just go to all these beautiful places. It would go to, is there a God? How is God like? What, all these beautiful things that I was thinking when I was just 9, 10 years old. And, as I got a little older, distractions came. When I was in high school, I wouldn't really go to church much, or when I was in college. But there was a part of me that always knew that this life was more than just this physical realm. I knew that there's more to life than just these material things we have. There's more to life. And I was always curious, I was always interested. And when I would go to church, I would go with my parents. And, I would go sometimes in high school, not as much as I did when I was younger, but I would go to sometimes with my parents, and I would see that they would go to church, they would learn about God, they would learn, what the pastor was talking about, and they would come home. But throughout the week, they wouldn't really pray, they wouldn't put into action, all these things that the pastor was preaching. They would always just wait till Sunday, and they would try to just go to church to find God. And I was like, there's no way that six days go by and we don't think about God. Like there's, I would just never get that. So as I got a little older, I started just viewing things a little different. I had different thinking. I was thinking a little differently. I always thought like, what's after death? Where do our souls go? Like, what's all the? I was so curious about different things, and I think people knew that about me a little bit from an early age. I would always ask questions like that. I would always ask, what's after death? What happens when you die? Where do our souls go? Is there more than reality to this? And it wasn't until 2023 when I was able to find out, I was able to learn about this meditation center that now I go to regularly about all these things. And so I learned a lot, and I've been going there. And anyways, I've been able to receive a lot of wisdom, a lot of growth, and a lot of inspiration. But I wanted to share a little bit about how I view things. First of all, I don't think that religion, and where there's a bunch of different religions, right? And there's different groups that everyone follows different religions, right? But I don't think that you know, if there's a God that, we all come from, right? Um, I don't think he would want us to just be divided. I don't think he wants the world to be divided and have different beliefs about a God. I think, if there's a God, and I know there's a God, he would want us to be united. He would want us to be happy. He would want us to work on ourselves. He doesn't want to see us, be divided. That just doesn't make any sense. There's been wars. There's been literally, murderers. There's been so much hate because of belief of different religions. And I just think that we're one big family. We're the human race, and we should show compassion towards each other. We should show love, and we should show so much so much of these great values towards each other. We can't be divided. We can't just think, I'm better than you because you don't believe in this, or I don't think you're as good as me because I believe in that. That just doesn't make sense. So, you know, there's a part of us inside of us. We all have that inner God. We all have that power from within. And once we discover that inner God in us, you know, life really changes for every single one of us. But there's all these distractions, right? There's all the world distracts us, right? With different things in general. Our minds are all distracted, they're all scattered, and we don't have the focus to, discover that God, that inner God in us, right? We don't have that tunnel vision to discover that because we get distracted with our bad habits, we get into bad relationships, we get into bad thought patterns, we get into bad we suffer with ourselves, bad we do all these things that aren't our real essence. But inside of us there is that God in us, there is that love, that passion for life. And as we work internally on ourselves, as we start changing our thinking patterns, our beliefs, as we start opening up, be more open-minded to things, as we start experimenting with our true nature, which is love, which is God. That's it. God is love. So as we build more love towards each other, we just everything just makes sense. Everything is better. But if we judge people, if we say negative things about people, if we have negative thoughts towards others, it just life doesn't, it's not in harmony. We want a life, right, where we wake up and we feel every day we wake up, we feel inspired. We feel like we have purpose. We feel like good about ourselves with a healthy body, a healthy mind, where we develop all these values, all these positive values to learn more, to grow. We're all really came to this lifetime to evolve, right? To learn, to express ourselves, to find our purpose, to build good habits, to become the best versions of ourselves. But if we're distracted, we don't do that. So we get into life, right? When we're young, they tell us you have to go to school, you have to get good grades, you have to study something that you like. After college, you have to get a job. You have to make money. You have to go from a 9 to 5. We stay in that job for 30, 40, 50 years. Then we need to, obviously we need to buy a house. We need to get married. And we have all these beliefs about how life should be. That's the definition of success. That's what everyone calls success. And then we retire, we get to a retiring age, and then we die. I mean, that's not life to me. That's not something that is, something that you want, and I'm not saying that that's how it's for everybody, but that's just how normal people would call success or life. I believe, we have to develop all these values inside of us, the internal work. We have to know exactly who we are. Most of us have no idea who we truly are. We say, "Oh, I'm angry," or or I have all these issues, and it's like, why don't we know? Why can't we work on 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 our psychology? Why can't we uh, observe these issues, right? Like, but it takes time, right? And a lot of people, you know, they don't want to do the work. The work is hard, but it's so worth it, because once you do the work, you realize that your internal world, right? The things that you have internally could change so much about your external world. Could literally make you a whole different person. You could literally vibrate at a different frequency from your internal world. And the things that we want, the things that we wish for, we're going to obtain. But it has to do with doing the work. Start by observing yourself. Why do you think this way? Or why do we think this way? Why do we act this way? Why do we feel this way? And we just have to observe what we do. We have to know what we like, what we don't like, how we think. We have to know what, like, all these different things. And that's really you getting to know yourself. Why do you have fears? Why do you have these beliefs? Question things. It's not just, just this, wake up, live in your routine, go to your job. Like, there's more to life than that. There's more. I believe in everything, to be honest. I believe there's angels. I believe there's different worlds. I believe there's different galaxies. I believe there's gods, and there's one God, but I believe there's other. The universe works in so many different ways. I believe in past lives. Whatever we did in our previous lifetime, gives us this lifetime and the things we need to do. What if we have good karma, bad karma, right? That these things, matter. These things, show up in this world. So a lot of people say, I was born, or they question maybe people that are born with disabilities, or people that do you have tougher times in this lifetime. And it's most likely because they've done things in the previous lifetime that has caused that. And sometimes it's sad, but there's karma. All of us have to pay some type of karma. All of us have to realize that we're not perfect. We've done things in our previous lifetimes that are horrible, and sometimes the quality of our life shows up in this lifetime. So some of us may think, oh, this person's born rich or has a lot of money, right? This person has a beautiful life, they have great values. And it's like, well, in the previous lifetime, they did a lot of work. They helped a lot of people. They inspired many millions of people. So in this lifetime, right, they have good consequences. They have good values. They have all these things that we want. And if we decide that we want to change our karma, then we have to plant good seeds. We have to good deeds. We have to do good things in this lifetime and decide to do it as soon as possible. So we decide to help others. We decide to do good things for other people, and it doesn't have to just be with money, like giving money. Yes, sometimes it's good, but just a simple, a compliment, making somebody smile, or helping somebody think differently in a positive way, giving positivity, waking up with gratitude, and inspiring another person, doing different things. I mean, it doesn't, that changes somebody's, somebody's life. We could really help some people change if we do a lot of great things, if we decide to be good people. And we don't realize it, but if we're doing negative things, if we're bringing negativity, right, eventually, you might not see it now, right? You might not see it in a week from now, in a year from now, but eventually we're gonna have to pay that karma, that negative thing, the negative things we do, all these negative sides, we have to pay. It's the law. It's how things work. So, like I said, let's continue to just every single day grow as people. Let's continue to develop all these great qualities about ourselves, our virtues. Let's start changing the negative habits we have little by little, improving little by little. It doesn't have to be a big improvement. It should just be 1% every single day. What could I improve on this day? What could I do to be a benefit to others? How can I make a difference in the world? And, doing good things, inspiring others, and being the example, right? My teacher always says, we have to be the example, and every single one of us could be an example for somebody else. Every single one of us could really make a difference in the world and give back to the world, right? Change many, many lives is if we're fortunate enough to touch people's lives, to move them in a way where they feel better around our presence. That's the ultimate goal. So every single one of us is the example. We could all be leaders, and we could all change the world if we do the things we need to do. But it starts with ourselves. It starts by changing our thinking patterns, our beliefs, our habits, our negative things. And do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to go in your internal world and see that we all have darkness. But the more we know about us, the more light we could shine on those dark spots. So, I just want to, share a little bit of my wisdom. I just want to share that, we have to continue every day from the moment we get up to the moment we go to sleep. We have to continue to take steps forward and work on ourselves and improve every single aspect of our lives, improve our health, our body, our mind. We have to improve our way of thinking. We have to improve into forming new habits. We have to grow as people. We have to inspire others to be better. And at the end of the day, if we could do some of the work, if we could, really make a difference in ourselves, we're going to get rewarded with so many beautiful things. And eventually we find our path, we find our purpose. Life is so, so giving, and it gives us so many opportunities to really be great and really, inspire and really motivate and really just live a beautiful life. So I just wanted to share a little bit of, I felt, I had to share that with you guys. That was my message I meditated with. And, if you're going through a tough time, keep going, keep, they say at the end of, they say through the storm always ends. And at the end, there's always a beautiful sunrise. So if you're going through a tough time, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So, keep going. If you're at a good place right now, continue to be great. And, I wish you guys all the best. I wish you guys, have a wonderful week, and I wish you guys, like I said, continue to do the work. So yeah, that was my message for tonight. I hope you guys, have a great day, and, we'll talk, very soon. Take care. Have a good one.